Gosh, she's just amazing, isn't she?
Between the two of us, girls, you know I love you more.
Oh my goodness me, Amy Winehouse. Kia ora and welcome. My name's ZoeStibi and I am your vocal coach. For today, we're going to take a look at Amy Winehouse with I Heard It Through the Grapevine. I've never heard this performance before. I love her voice and everything about what she embodied in terms of performance. Like, I'm watching more interviews with her and it seems like she just was a really kick-ass kind of person. So let's have a look at the late great Amy Winehouse.
Wonder how I know about your plans to make me blow with some other girl you knew before. Between the two of us, girls, you know I love you more. You told me what surprise I must say when I found out yesterday. Don't you know that I heard.
Okay, I understand that it's not one of her songs, but I really, really love this performance and I love Jules Holland and the band and everything about it. So we hear that typical Amy Winehouse song. Now, if you hear her in interviews and when you hear her speaking, she has a sort of darker timbre to her voice, which would like say to me that she has a slightly lower larynx position and a slightly lower tongue position, probably due to her accent as well. So let's just go back on that because we're hearing, oh, through the grapevine. I'm not Amy Winehouse.
Well, I just wonder how I know about your plans to make me blow with some other girl you knew before. Between the two of us, girls, you know I love you more. You told me what surprise.
So you can hear there as well where they go, you can see even in the mouth, I don't know where, yeah, I heard it through the grapevine. You almost see this sort of mouth shape going on there with the slightly back tongue. Yeah, I heard it through the grapevine. The mouth shape plays a huge role in what's going on in the voice. And when we round the front of the lips, that's going to also darken the timbre. I want you to go, she goes, pride. Now, that's not something that, I'm not trying to make fun of her. That's just not something that I do in my own voice. But she tends to close the vocal folds between the notes. And that's kind of that that we're hearing. That's the glottis closing. Let's just watch that again.
How I know.
Yeah, how I know. She's doing all those lovely little glottals.
About your plans to make me blow with some other girl you knew before. Between the two of us, girls, you know I love you more. You told me what surprise I must say when I found out yesterday. Don't you know that I heard it through the grapevine? How much longer would you be mine? Yeah, I heard it through the grapevine. Yeah, I was just about to lose my mind.
Gosh, she's just amazing, isn't she? So we got, oh, longer would you be mine? You've got like a slight narrowing of the top part of the larynx there. Look, when I'm saying these things, it's also like not an exact science because I don't have a camera going down her throat to look at this. And I'm not saying this because I want you to really like copy that sound. It's just a lot of people really like that sort of, that longer could you be mine? And we want to do it without pressure. And it's often just created with way too much pressure behind the voice. You notice as well, she's going to go high. Let's just watch it again. Did you say, yeah, I heard it? That's that closing. Yeah, I heard it through the grapevine. And she again with those vocal folds closing on the sound. And that tiny amount of AES narrating, that heard it through the grapevine. And we're using a lot of the mouth shape there in order to change the color of that sound. I was just about to lose we're hearing there in look, I'm not an ex, like I haven't heard Paul Weller's voice a lot. I probably have, like, without kind of knowing about it. But we've got I heard it through the grapevine, and we've got that sort of, again, it's a tightened top part of the throat going on there. It's not, you can't really say like whether it's in the larynx or not within the larynx, because people feel it in different places. But we would be expecting that tightening at the back there, and we're hearing a little bit of an increase in the breath. Longer would you be mine? Hearing an increase in that breath flow, and that's what creates that different. Again, not making fun of Paul Weller at all. He's a very successful, obviously I do know he's a highly successful musician, but I like to call it that sort of like old man sound when people are trying to create that. Let's watch that again. Yeah, but I love somebody else. And we're sort of using that breath in certain situations, because actually, if we do throw a whole bunch of breath through the sound, it's not going to be a sustainable type of sound. It's actually going to cause us a lot of vocal fatigue. We're going to interrupt that solo. So I love as well with Amy Winehouse, she just looked like she was just such a lover of music as well. And she's, having fun on stage, and she's moving. And yeah, we're not going to go into it. It was a really a huge shame what happened to her. But you can really see that, again, using that mouth shape, very similar in terms of jazz technique, very similar to jazz, or it isn't actually, Zoe, where am I going with this? It is a jazz technique of singing, of using the mouth, almost like we would use a trumpet mute. So you get on a trumpet, the trumpet goes out. I'll put a picture here of a trumpet mute, and you move the mute, wah, 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 and we can do that sound. Well, we can't really quite do that sound, but we can do a similar sort of thing with our mouth aperture, kind of going larger, wider, and more closed to change the quality of the sound. Not only was that also a bit of, wizardry from the audio technician, but you heard that Amy Winehouse actually she's a fabulous musician. She was an amazing musician and very intuitive. She played a lot basically and played with a lot of people, but she pulled back her sort of signature sound. She can go, I heard it through the grapevine, and kind of really push it out there. She pulled her voice back, went a little bit breathier, heard it through the grapevine, just at the end there, because we're not trying to say like Amy Winehouse stand back, but we're trying to, when we're singing with other people, we want to make sure that we're blending with them.
For 7
Wow, isn't she just a fantastic musician? Because what you're hearing there, and this is actually something that came up in a podcast interview that I did yesterday, which is coming out very, very soon with the fantastic Anne-Marie Speed, who actually trained the actress that played Amy Winehouse in her biopic. And we were actually talking about this off like away from recording. You know, what we're trying to do is not create an impersonation of these people. That's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to like copy their sound. We're trying to find the essence of their sound and to make those sorts of changes, which I found very interesting. We didn't quite go into detail about how she worked with the actress on Amy Winehouse's voice, which is a bit of a shame actually in hindsight. I should have thought about that. But one thing that I will say, one thing we did talk about was how you don't see all the effort that goes into these performances. And what we don't see is that Amy Winehouse, you know, spent years and years and years singing and playing the guitar by herself, practicing the whole time, learning jazz. You know, when we're listening to music and we're singing along with other singers, we're actually studying with them. I really like that way of looking at it. We're actually listening to them. What are they doing with their sounds? How can I create that sound? That's a way of studying, and that's what I wanted to help you with here on the channel as well. So we're studying these voices, looking at what they're doing, and seeing how you can create those types of sounds in your voice. So let's just watch this again, because what we're not seeing is all the work that's gone in for her to be able to sing, and apparently like sing freely. It's because she knows where her voice needs to go. So you got there like, it seems like she's totally like riffing and things like that, but that's because you need to know what your voice is going to do when you're making those sounds. I can. So she's doing a little bit of rattle. I can't. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know the words of the song, unfortunately. I literally only know the chorus, which is a bit sad. So and even if I was really to pull up the lyrics, I don't think I'd know them. I don't know the melody actually of the actual like verses of the song. I just know I heard it through the grapevine. So we've got this rattle, which the original is knocking together, and that happens before the tone. I heard it to the truth, and then you know we've got to know what's happening with the air pressure when we're making these. This is just like it's a masterclass in this little piece of the verse. They go, have, you know, changing these mouth positions as well. We've got to be quite brave to do that in our singing. This isn't about creating crazy vocal fireworks. I think Amy Winehouse is a perfect example of how you don't have to do like all of these crazy riffs and runs in order to make your sound expressive. Not everybody is a Tori Kelly, you know. It's like we have sprinters and we have long distance runners. We don't actually know what causes a more flexible voice. But, you know, some people just have them and some people don't have them. So let's just watch that. You'll hear it. You're seeing that wider mouth shape. Way! Again, like that trumpet mute going on there. And that's just a pulsing of the way. It's a pulsing of the actual larynx. Well, you're moving the larynx. You're moving the pitch. You're not actually going way. You're not moving the jaw. I don't even think I could do that. You have to know your scales to be able to sing that over what everything else is going on. This is what needs to happen in order to sing this freely. We have to be practicing our scales. You know, this doesn't just like come from the ethos. Although I think a lot of the time we can underestimate the impression that our families and the music that's created at home have on us as musicians. We know that Amy Winehouse played the guitar fantastically as well. So lots of that would have fed into her oral training with her ears. So you can't underestimate the importance of learning all your scales as a singer, playing around with scales and actually learning about improvisation. This is a large part of jazz singing, and it's what they spend years and years and years and years and years getting much better at, which, you know, is often left out in a lot of other singing styles. So if you are looking for, look, I don't believe in all these vocal warm-ups that I see online. I think most of them are pretty terrible, actually. I really am not a fan of a huge amount of warm-ups. I'll put that out there. So if you do want to have like literally I give my students like 2 warm-ups. And if you would like to have those exact 2 warm-ups, it's called Warm-Ups Like a Pro, down in the description below for you to download, because I really don't believe that it takes a whole bunch of different freaking warm-ups. If we're working on scales, that's a different story. Then we're talking about a technical exercise of actually going in and singing those scales and getting to know them, excuse me, and not necessarily going like, oh, you know, like we can practice those within the context of our song. Otherwise we just get really, really good at doing freaking warm-ups. You can see that, whoa, again, the mouth shape, so important in terms of that darker quality that we've got going on there with Amy Winehouse. Oh my goodness me, is she just not, she was just amazing. My goodness me. Such a loss as well for music. Such a loss for her, actually. You know what, like, fuck the audience. It's just such a loss for, you know, such a shame. Anyway, let's just go back on this. You're hearing her kind of like, again, riff, improvise. Takes years to be able to improvise over top of a band like this in this situation. So much are going on and you got to focus on your own singing. Incredibly musical. There's not a beat missed, and I wouldn't expect like any less from someone of Amy's standard. That we've got this, I feel like really rude calling her Amy, actually. It's like it's Amy Winehouse, so like Miss Winehouse. You know, so when you're listening to her sing, you're kind of going like, oh, it looks really easy for her. But I want you to really notice the way riffing and letting your voice be that free takes a lot of oral training. Again, using the mouth shape. Whoa, 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 whoa. I can't do that shit. Yeah, well, not in that context. I don't know the song well enough. But, you know, that's what, whoa, 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 whoa. Don't be afraid to move the mouth shape as well. When we say don't move the jaw in singing, we're not actually talking about like never. It's not like, oh, fix it in one position. It's about not fixing it in a position. So allowing it to move with the sounds that we're wanting. And obviously this is also style dependent. Jazz, pop, rock, we can make these different sounds. Musical theater, we don't necessarily want to make them as much. And then again, heard it through the grapevine. We've got a thick vocal fold with a little bit of air coming through. Hey, which is a huge start, you know, it's a stark contrast to the, oh yeah, we've got the little bit of the AES narrowing going on there with the air. Again, not making fun of her sound. That's just what it sounds like in my voice. But with that AES narrowing, oh, we're tightening here at the back of the throat without going and closing the throat completely. It's about finding that balance. And that is really dependent on a lot. I was going to like list them all. No, it's dependent on a lot, okay? Cultural, where you're growing up, like what your natural accent is, where your spoken voice sits. There's a whole bunch of factors that come into it, which really need to be addressed on a one-to-one basis. So if you are genuinely like, I really want to learn how to sing higher, but I really like the style of singing, how can I make that sort of sound? Then that needs to be looked at on a personal basis. So you can apply for my online singing school, the Vocal Academy, down in the description below. Our fantastic vocal teachers, honestly, they're all wonderful, respected colleagues of mine. I would trust them to teach me how to sing. They're incredible, including joining me for weekly masterclasses as well. So there's plenty of time for us to get to know one another. Check out the link in the description below for how you can apply. Oh my goodness me, Amy Winehouse, because that's just rude. She's amazing, was amazing. I can't wait to check out some more of her performances. And just remember that like everybody can learn to sing. And I love that Amy Winehouse was a testament to how like a lot of practice. She talked about that as well in her interviews, how she would just, sit there for a long period of time and play and get out there and play with other people and listen. And, that's what it's really all about. Music is about creating music with other people, not just sort of like sitting in your room singing to yourself. So get out there, go and make some music, go and find a jam session, check out some more Amy Winehouse up here. If you've enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you subscribe to the channel. Honestly, really does help me hugely to help more people like yourself here on YouTube. And just remember, like, you're awesome and anyone can learn to sing. It's got to be given the tools. Ka kite anō.